The bill is one of the most extreme anti-LGBTQI+ laws in the world. Human rights are universal. No one should be attacked, imprisoned, or killed simply because of who they are or whom they love.
What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day. You remember a couple of days ago, we had a discussion about Uganda. We spoke about the flag that was flown in the US Embassy. Well, there are some new situation about that. So Joe Biden has responded to the decision made by the Ugandan parliament in voting the law that's not really acceptable by the West. So they say the US President Joe Biden has demanded an immediate repeal of the Ugandan severe anti-gay law and will consider sanctions and other penalties against the African country and its leadership. They will consider sanctions and penalties against the African country for making a choice to ban gay promotion in Uganda. That's what's happening. So basically, the Ugandan people made a law. They chose to ban gay activities in Uganda as per parliament. And the United States have replied, first of all, by flying the gay flag at the embassy, and now by saying they're going to issue penalties against the African country and its leadership. So on the 29th May, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni signed a legislation that imposed grave penalties for promoting homosexuality, including possibilities of an aggravated homosexuality and unknowingly transmitting the HIV. I can't say things. I can't say word, unfortunately. We're getting censored. I'm sorry. The law is a tragic violation of the universal human rights, one that is not worthy of the Ugandan people, and one that jeopardizes the prospect of a critical economic growth for the entire country, President Biden said in a statement. The law is a tragic violation of the universal human right. Tragic violation of the universal human right that is not worthy of the Ugandan people. You cannot accept that law. He says, I join with people around the world, including many in Uganda, in calling for its immediate repeal. He added, no one should have to live in constant fear for their life or being subjected to violence and discrimination. It is wrong. I mean, this is, as we can see, it's very good to see that obviously President Joe Biden fighting very hard for the right of fellow human beings so they can be treated accordingly and appropriately. But then again, this is Uganda. It's another country. It's a country in Africa. They have their own parliament. They have their own laws, their own rules, their own traditions, their own customs that need to be taken into consideration. For context, the Ugandans a few days ago made the choice to vote into law what they call the most drastic law possible against homosexual and LGBTs. So basically what they're saying is you can be LGBT, you can be gay, it's okay, but just not promote being gay. You can be gay in your bedroom, you and your partner. You can do your own things. Nobody's going to bother you. But just don't go down the street hugging each other, doing those type of things.
In Uganda, sex is confidential, even heterosexual sex. Therefore, if a homosexual keeps his being to himself or confidentially seeks assistance from the doctors or priests, it will not offend this law.
And I don't know, this is not very new because if you go to some Arab countries like Qatar or Dubai, I believe, you can't walk in the street holding hand with your wife. You can't show affections in public. You know, it's not allowed. It's part of their culture. I mean, do you have the right to do that? Yes, you do in your country. But when you come to the Arab countries, you can't show affection. You can't kiss in public. You can't do these things. So Ugandans say, you can do what you want to do. Just don't come and put it in our face or don't come and hug and do, you know, it's not proper to us. Should we be upset about that? Should the world be upset about that? The US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, said in a statement that the US will also develop mechanisms to support the right of LGBT individuals in Uganda and to promote accountability for Ugandan officials and other individuals responsible for or complicit in abusing their human rights. So they're going to provide support for the LGBT community and they're going to make sure that whoever that participates in their, suffering leaves the consequences of it. It looks like they want to do something good. So Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign, said the latest law is by far the most horrific display of bigotry we have seen in recent memory of Uganda and all of Africa. It's the most horrific display of bigotry we have seen in recent memory in Uganda and in all of Africa. That's a big statement. She said again the Ugandan parliament should be ashamed of themselves for considering this draconian law that erases the internationally recognized right of the LGBT. Ugandans and President Museveni should be condemned for not using the full power of his position to stop it. So, in other words, they're going to blame it on the president for not stopping the slow. So he should have stopped it. He should have allowed it to be. So my question is, I've seen the US doing some good things for other countries. It's great. But I've not seen really the United States put in a lot of work, so much work into any other thing besides the work for saving the LGBTs and making sure, not just saving, but making sure the laws are not voted, making sure they are allowed to live freely, to marry and do their own things. That raises many questions. I mean, we all know the situation right now between Uganda and the United States. The president of Uganda is adamant. He doesn't want to budge about that. They've tried a few times to try to convince him about the gay law. He's not interested. And I think anybody with normal minds, once you try to convey a message to somebody and he rejects it, you take a little step back to sort of reflect and see what's wrong. You know, maybe try strategize differently. You don't necessarily push. When you push, people push back at the end. And I feel like perhaps me not being an expert in, human relations or nation relation, I mean, with the very basic knowledge we have of relationships, the most simplest thing you can do is step back a little bit. Show some kindness, not aggression. If somebody's not listening to you, what do? You show some kindness. You show that you're coming in peace. You're not looking for war. So if the US with Joe Biden can do so much for people across Africa, all over the world, we have a question here. Why aren't they doing the same for black people who are being United States? That's a big question. Let's face it, many black people are being unalived in the US. You just need to have a nice car, driving in a neighborhood where you shouldn't have. They're going to stop you, and we've all seen it on TV. I mean, the movement Black Lives Matter did not come for nothing. So we know that constantly people like us are unalived by policemen, right? They even say here, they say, according to data collected by Washington Post, police and unalived 1,055 people worldwide, black people worldwide last year. The most since the newspaper began tracking shooting by officers. So last year only we had 1,055 people were unalived by the police. Black people account for 13% of the US population, and they are the majority of people that are being unalived by the police. How do you explain that? I mean, they're saying it here. That means black people are twice as likely as white people to get by the police. So isn't that something that's urgent? It's happening in the US. Okay, I understand. Some of our brothers choose to do things man and man. Okay, some of our brothers choose to do things man and woman. People are different. They have their own choices. Now, me being the good person, me being the right person, I want to go outside my country to try fix things when there are things that need to be fixed in my country where black people are being unalived. I mean, in Uganda, they haven't unalived anybody. Let's just talk about this. In Uganda, they have not unalived anybody for choosing to date whoever they want to choose. But in the US, people are unalived every single day for just being different. We know that. We see that on TV. I'm not inventing this. That's why we saw Black Lives Matter. Shouldn't that be a priority? Shouldn't that be something they should invest in, put the money in, make sure they have the support, train the police, talk to the people, change the mindset, include everybody before trying to convey other people from different cultures and different traditions, different backgrounds to agree with them on things that they don't necessarily agree on? I don't know. You tell me. My question is this. Should the USA focus a little bit on people like us that are in the United States that every day are taken? Last year only, we lost about 1,055 people. In Uganda, this is not what's happening with our brothers that choose to be with our brothers. So isn't that a priority right now that people should be focusing on, trying to convey the right message within the US first before trying to tackle problems elsewhere? Let me know how you feel about this. Not forgetting that there was a gay flag flying in Uganda where they said they don't want it. I mean, it's Uganda. It's not San Francisco. God bless.